Welcome back. Not back, just welcome. First video. This is something I've wanted to do for quite some time now. Probably a few years, I suppose. Just finally got enough motivation to do it, so here we are. I got my work hoodie on today because, well, we're going to be doing some work on my wife's 2014 Mercedes-Benz ML63. It is an AMG. We are getting ready for a road trip to California and to Las Vegas from Nebraska. I live in middle of nowhere, Nebraska, so we're going to do a oil change on this thing. It's not due quite yet, but we're going to be putting on a lot of miles, so I'd rather be proactive and get it done ahead of time. So we're going to do that. I got some new air filters for it. I had it in the garage a couple weeks ago and found out there was a mouse living in one of the air boxes. Did some chewing on one of the filters, so we're going to get those replaced with some good K&N filters. Get the oil changed, look it over good, make sure it's ready to go. But first I'll tell you a little bit about this vehicle. Pretty cool. Show you some of its features and stuff. Alright, so this, like I said, is a 2014 ML63 AMG. This came after the ML55, which I think is like the original performance luxury SUV. I think they had a 5.5 naturally aspirated V8. I don't remember what years they made those, but there's information out there. So this is the second and last gen of the ML63. These have a twin turbo 5.5 liter V8. So yeah, not a real big V8. I think that's 335 or 336 cubic inches for you old school hot rodder people. But yeah, it makes this one has a performance package. Actually, we have two of them. We have a him and hers. I have one as well. Mine's over there. She's kind of a garage queen. Yeah, they both have the performance package, which makes them 550 horsepower and 560 torque doggers. So not too shabby. It is a 6,000 pound, close to 6,000 pound vehicle. So I mean, I wouldn't call them like crazy fast or anything, but definitely not a slouch. And stupid expensive, and well, new anyways. So hers, this is my wife's, the 14. MSRP on hers was like $120,000. I think the base price on them is right around $90,000, or was. Mine is a 15, so they're a year different. And I think mine, MSRP on mine was $115,000. Yeah, the options on them are they're both spec'd out pretty nice. We'll talk about hers a little bit. We'll do another video on mine some other time. But yeah, I don't know. So hers, for example, I bought her. We've had hers for about a year. Mine we've had for 4 years, 5 years, something like that. And I haven't had any trouble with mine. It's been a rock solid vehicle. I did put a tune on mine. I have different wheels on mine, stuff like that. But yeah, zero issues. I think that's why people get scared of them, the maintenance and stuff like that, which can be expensive. If you have a dealership do the maintenance on them, it is expensive. But it's like an oil change is, I think a dealership charges like $500, and it's easy. It's literally oil and a filter. It's simple. You guys can do this. It does take a lot of oil. I think it takes like 9 quarts of oil, but other than that, it's not any different than anything else. So some of her features, Hers has a pretty cool soft close door option. Well, you gotta close it soft, and then it'll do it. See that? That's pretty cool. Hers has the Bang & Olufsen stereo. It's kind of a mess right now. We need to get it cleaned up. Black leather interior. The two-piece panoramic sunroof. I don't know, it's optioned out. Hers even has a hitch on it, which mine does not. But yeah, you can you know, pull your dang old boat with $700 worth of groceries while you're beating up on a Mustang or a Camaro or whatever. Sorry, Mustang Camaro guys, but you probably know it's true. So yeah, we'll dive into this, get the oil changed, get the air filters changed out, look it over, all that stuff. I do, so here's a pro tip for you guys. I knew she was going to be daily driving this, and we get some pretty rugged winters in Nebraska. It came with brand new Toyo tires on it when we bought it, but I wanted to get her a good snow tire to put on in the winter, so I said, you know, you can just, you know, have my factory wheels, we'll put, you know, some snow tires on those, and then I'll get some, you know, aftermarket wheels and tires. See, that's how you got to play that stuff. But actually I found a super good deal. These are Yokohama Blue Earths, I think, or something. I don't know, but they're like a full-on snow tire. And I looked for quite a while. I'm kind of a tight ass, so I appreciate a good deal. But yeah, they wanted like $300-400 a tire for these. They run a 295 30 or 35, I can't remember, 21. And yeah, snow tires were super expensive, but I was able to find a deal on, I believe it was on Tire Rack. They had a few sets of new old stock. I think they were manufactured in 2020, and I bought them, you know, beginning of winter, so they were like 5 years old. But they must have made some and nobody purchased them or whatever. These are 285, 30 or 35, whichever they're supposed to be, 21. So they're 10 millimeters narrower, which I was all right with. But yeah, I got them for like 95 bucks a piece. So I think shipped and everything, it was like right around 400 for all four of them. And there was lots of other places that wanted that much for one. So yeah, they are literally brand new. They were wrapped up and everything. I'm sure sat on a shelf in a warehouse somewhere for 5 years. Didn't, you know, sunlight is probably the biggest, well, sunlight and burnouts, probably the biggest enemy of tires. So I was all right buying them 5 years old, had them, you know, knowing they were sitting in a warehouse or whatever. So yeah, I got those put on, and they work amazing. So these are all-wheel drive, obviously, but even, you know, being all-wheel drive, if you have, you know, summer tires or whatever, they can be a little sketchy on snow, ice, what have you. But yeah, she loves driving it in the winter. Well, she probably doesn't love it, but she says it's the most stable vehicle she's drove in the winter. She is coming from before this she had I think it's a 2013 Cadillac Escalade that we bought used, obviously, had the third row seat and stuff. Had 200 million miles on it. Transmission finally went out in it. I had a bunch of other issues. So I don't know, I just think the depreciation on these and how much vehicle you get for the money, they are such a good deal. She actually wanted mine. She's like, oh, I could just start driving yours. I said, no, we'll just get you your own. So we found this one. I think when we bought it, it only had 70,000 miles on it or something like that. Extremely well cared for. I mean, it was a two-owner vehicle, if you're spending $120,000 on a vehicle, you're gonna, you know, probably take pretty good care of it. So yeah, excellent shape. Picked it up. We did have to drive to, God, I think it was all like up by Green Bay. It was quite a drive to go get it. They're not very popular in the Midwest, the old ML63s. But so yeah, mine, for example, I found mine in Portland, Oregon. I flew out there, picked it up, you know, like I said, 4 or 5 years ago, I can't remember, and drove it home. But yeah, cool vehicles. We'll definitely be getting plenty of seat time. Thank God they have heated, cooled, massaging seats, so that'll help out on our, I don't even know, it's got to be round trip. We're going to be doing like 3,000 miles, I think, or somewhere right in there. So yeah, enough of me rambling. Let's get after it. All right, so these, like I said, this is a 5.5 liter V8 twin turbo. So these actually have 2 separate air boxes. They have one for each turbo. There's the inlet here. This is the air box, and then it goes down to the sushi slicer, and then it comes up here to a water to air intercooler before it goes in. So they're a little bit labor intensive to put air cleaners in, air filters, but they're not terrible. The air box does come out, and then that splits apart, and then the filter element is inside of that. So I will go ahead, some covers have to come off, and then those air boxes come out. So I will get after it. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, these air intake tubes have to come off. They actually just pop on there. This side is a little bit more tricky. You just put a screwdriver in there, get it past the little notch. And then when I had these off a couple weeks ago, I did notice this one is ripped. I need to get a new one ordered. I forgot to do that. But this is just air into the air box, so it's fine. Same thing over here. Just pops off the air box, and then get it removed from the radiator support or whatever this is. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not a mechanic or anything. I don't know what I'm doing. So this is more for entertainment than anything. But these are easy enough to work on. Alright, so these are the 2 air boxes. And these actually just kind of snap into place. I think they have like a ball on the bottom that goes into a rubber grommet. But first, you have to pull this or loosen this clamp up. And so you just pull this up like so and wiggle it out of there. And these do have must be intake air temp sensors on them, so you have to unhook those. This one has an wire that goes back, so the connection is right here, just like that. There's your air box. Alright, same thing over here. Loosen this clamp up. Pop these out of the grommets. Wiggle it out of this pipe. And then this one, you can see the sensor is way back there. So if you just turn it off to this side, you can get that sensor. second airbox. Alright, one other thing I did notice a couple weeks when I had this in here and had these air boxes off, this reservoir up here is for the water to air intercooler. I noticed it was a little bit low. There was a little bit of pressure there. But we're going to go ahead and top that off. It uses the same coolant as the engine. And guys, don't get the universal green coolant. That stuff is garbage. If you ever need to top off your coolant, make sure you're using the right stuff. O'Reilly's carries Xerox or whatever brand that is, made by Valvoline. It's 20 bucks for a jug. If you're going to spend 20 bucks to get the wrong stuff, might as well spend 20 bucks and get the right stuff. This uses G48 in both the cooling system and for the water to air intercooler. But yeah, just get on your old Google machine and find out what coolant you're supposed to have. They have different compounds, and it's not good to mix them. So I know they say they're universal and you can use them in anything, but that's a lie. So we're just going to top this guy off. It's a pretty small reservoir, so it's not going to take a lot. And it wasn't empty, it was just low. I think we'll put just a little bit more in there. Oh. Make sure you spill it all over too. That's a must-have. Alright, so that is topped off and good to go. So, kind of a fun tidbit about these. They do have a hydraulic pump up here, and I believe this is a reservoir over here for hydraulic fluid. And it has a hydraulically controlled sway bar, so you can adjust the ride setting on here. They have like Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and how they do that is they run hydraulic pressure to a sway bar, and I don't know how it works. It just works, but that's the pump for that and the reservoir. So, fun fact. All right, so got those air boxes out, and like I said, the filter element is inside of here. They split apart. They have some, what do we got? T25 Torx screws on the bottom side of the air box. You just think there's 4 of them, maybe 5. You just take those out, and then this will split into 2 separate pieces, and I'll show you that filter element in there. See, there's your 2 halves. Here's my mouse damage that I found a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if these are Mercedes filters, so I don't know if these are still the original ones. Like I said, we bought hers I think it was like a year ago, and it had 70,000 miles on it, I think. I think it's up around 90 now. But yeah, they either were replaced with OEM filters, or those might be the original ones yet, I don't know. So I'm going to clean this out a little bit. Yeah, when I pulled this apart last time, there was it's actually a dead mouse in there, so I'm glad you guys didn't get to see that. We are going to go ahead and put in a, once I get the box open, we're going to put in a K&N panel filter. Dropping stuff everywhere. There's a couple reasons. I put these in mine a while ago. Obviously, I don't know. I'm a fan of K&N. I think they're think they make a good product. So we have a cabin out by the lake. That's where these mice come from when we're out there with the vehicles. And they're actually like a steel mesh, and they have oil-soaked cotton inside the mesh, so I don't think mice will really mess with those. I've had one of these in my pickup for, I don't know, a few years now, and I found the same thing. I checked the air filter on it, and it had evidence of a mouse chewing on it. So I put one of these K&N filters in, and haven't had any issues with that since then. Plus they flow better, and that other, I don't know if you can see in there or not, but that other paper filter actually stuck down into this opening quite a bit, and in my mind probably restricts it a little bit. Maybe not. Should we clean this sensor while we're right here? Does this just pop out? It does, once you get it in the right spot. I'm not even sure what this is. I think it's an air temp sensor. We'll use some mass airflow sensor cleaner. We'll give that a little shot. All right, did hit that with a little bit of air to dry it off. And which way was that pointed? Just like that. All right, this can go back together. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. One thing before I put these air boxes back on, this right, I don't know if you can see it or not, but right down here is where that charge air comes in after the turbos, and this is that water to air intercooler, so it'll go in there, and then it feeds cool charged air right down into the heads. Alright, air boxes going back on. Don't forget your connectors back here. Get that popped in. And then make sure you get it in the tube first before you, then it'll just pop down into place. And then also don't forget to tighten your clamp back up, just like that. Alright, passenger side, same deal. This one I will leave the electrical connection off for right now because it's right up front. Get that in there. Get that pushed down. And again, connector right there. And tighten this clamp as well. Alright, hopefully you guys can see this. We are underneath the rig now. And I wasn't joking. I got some homemade, whatever you want to call them, ramps. So the whole bottom side of this is covered with a, I don't know what you call them, panel, splash guard thing. I know some people pull these off and get rid of them, but my thought is they obviously put it there for a reason, so I like to keep them. They do make just a little bit more time consuming, just because you have to take them off, but a bunch of 8mm bolts hold these up, or this up. Alright, I got that lower cover cleaned off and drying. One thing about these Mercedes, this is I believe the engine code is a M157, but they have, let's see if you can see this, they have a pretty small drain plug, and it comes like right out the side of the lower oil pan, and these things hold like 8.5 or 9 quarts of oil. So the first time I changed oil in mine, I knew obviously it was gonna come out of there, but I was not expecting it to shoot 3 feet out of there. So when you're doing your own oil change, definitely something to keep in mind. There's a lot of pressure just with the capacity of oil, and that plug coming right out the side of the oil pan. So consider yourselves warned. Oh my, oh, who changed the oil in this last? So what I like to do is get my pan up as close as I can and prepare to get covered in oil, basically. So yeah, as you can see, it shoots oil out a long ways, and I just spilled it everywhere, so that's good. Yeah, I'm not sure why they have the plug come out the side of the pan like that, but that's how they do it. And I am covered in oil now, and my floor. So this was actually, yeah, I think it had about 3,000 miles to go before it was technically due for an oil change. But with how far we're driving, and I don't think they do them often enough according to the old service computer or whatever. So I would rather do it ahead of time and then wait. So we're doing it now, about 3,000 miles shy of what the service computer said.
Alright, that's almost done draining, but while we wait, I was talking to you about the hydraulic sway bar. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there that guy is. It's got a hydraulic, you can see the lines going into it. I don't know what exactly it does, but they use hydraulic pressure to adjust ride firmness, I suppose you would call it. And then these also have air struts on them, and I would imagine the struts themselves adjust as well. And then I know for sure when you have it like on Sport Plus mode, the vehicle will actually lower down, not a lot, I would say maybe like an inch and a half, something like that. It'll lower down and firm up the ride to get less body roll and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. Cleaning this plug up. This is pretty close to done dripping out. I think we'll go ahead and call it. Get this guy back in there and clean up the mess that I made everywhere. These are a 13 millimeter, just a regular 6.13 millimeter bolt or plug. Nothing fancy there. But yeah, oil everywhere. That's my fault. I knew I was going to do it. I was prepared for it, and still got oil everywhere, so it's just the way she goes, I guess. Yeah, we'll get this wiped down a little bit, and then we're actually done down here, so I will go grab that cover and get that thrown back on. Alright, I know at least 3 of you were yelling, "Hey, dummy, you forgot the brass crush washer." You're right, I did, but I got it now. So yes, these do have a brass crush washer on the drain plug. Happened to find mine in the bottom of the drain pan when I was dumping it out. Completely forgot all about that guy. But I'll pull this plug back out. Probably going to be a little bit of oil that drained down here, so we'll let that drain out anyways. Rod rig. Well, there's actually quite a bit of oil that drained back down there, so crush washer going on. We'll let that drain for a little bit. Before we started this, my wife had just got done driving this home, so everything was 50 million degrees. That's why we did the air filters first. I thought I'd let this cool down for a little bit. Always a good idea to change your oil when it's hot, not boiling hot, but definitely hot. Recently ran. If there is any gunk in there, it'll mix it up and flush it out when you pull the plug. So yeah, it was definitely warmed up good. Alright, we're going to plug this back in with crush washer this time. You guys like wearing gloves when you wrench on stuff? I guess, as you can probably tell, I do for most things. I did take them off when I knew I was gonna get covered in oil. But yeah, other than that, I like to wear them. Alright, this skid plate is a little tricky to go back in. It kind of sits up above that rear one. I think you're supposed to probably take that rear one out. But we ain't got time for that. Or maybe we're gonna make time for that. I've done it before, I know what happens. Yeah. See, told you it'd go. And then the front kind of sits underneath that front one too, but it is far easier to get up there. I always do the back one first, and then that actually holds it up in place, and it makes putting the bolts in a little bit easier. I'm not going to tighten that one up all the way just yet. We'll get a few of them started to make sure this thing is on there straight. Yeah, this is definitely a pain to do on the floor. This would be considerably easier with the lift, so we're not rolling around underneath this thing. But maybe someday. For right now, we'll do it the hard way, I guess. Alright, go ahead and start tightening these up. Make sure all these are tight. Yeah, there is 8 of them. 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 4 in the middle. And that is it. How's that go? Bottom side, bay 2. Bottom side. All right, so that does it for the bottom side. I did forget it's got a canister oil filter, and that is right here. So I should have left this intake tube off to get at that, but I forgot. So we'll pull this back off. I'll probably even pull this cover off too. Just makes life a little easier. Wow, what in darnation is going on around here? There we go. Intake tube, cover off. I don't know what size that is. A big socket or wrench, maybe? We'll use a socket. Uh, 25. No. 26. I think so. I'll just leave that socket on there. Makes that easier. So I always like to pull these almost all the way out and then let them drain down. There's a little bit of oil in them. And then we'll put a new filter in. I'll show you how to do that on the bench. So these have a canister. Just has the separate filter media like that. Normally I run wicks, but they were out of wicks, so I got a Napa Gold instead. I really do prefer the wicks, and I actually just ordered Rock Auto sells them super cheap. I usually just get 4 of them at a time since I have 2 of these. I think Rock Auto sells them for like $5 a filter or something like that. Super cheap. So this does have an O-ring on there. Take that off. Don't want to reuse that. And the filter just pops out of there. Probably spray this out with some carb spray. Brake clean, I guess. Recycled on that. So let that dry out good. Hit it with the old dirty shirt. And then get some oil for the new O-ring. Use some of this nice used oil off that old filter. I just want some lubrication on there so it doesn't bind up when you're putting this cap back on. Make sure you get it down in the groove. In the groove. You know what I mean? And then the new filter snaps right in there. And then this can go back on. Alright, I got the new filter in there. Just gotta tighten it down. Get my socket back off of there. So it says, oh, I thought it said right on the cap. I think it does. Hold on. Yeah, 25 Newton meters. So torque wrench. Oh yeah, that's 25 for sure. Perfect. So intake tube, go back on, just like so, pops into place, and then the cover, just like that. And now we are ready for some oil. So we're filling this back up with Mobile One 5W40. You can run 0W40 or 540 in these. I like 5 just because I feel it gives a little bit more protection. And they also recommend that in like modified cars. Obviously this one's not modified, it is stock. But I figure if it's good for a modified car, it should be good for a stock one too. So like I said, these hold 8.5 to 9 quarts, I think is what they say. So I will put in 8.5 and then we'll pull it down off of these janky blocks and let it run for a little bit, and we'll check it and see where it's at. Top off if needed. So, if I'm mathing correctly, which I'm probably not, I think I need to leave 1.5 quarts in this jug. And that will be 8.5 quarts. I do hold a lot of oil, which I suppose is probably a good thing. Alright, I got it down off the blocks. Let it run for a little bit, get oil in the filter and all that stuff. And then I shut it off. I reset the service computer. That is a little bit of a process. I had to look up a YouTube video to see how to do it. There are a few of them out there, so I'm not going to include it in this one. But if you need to reset that, there is a procedure, and there's a couple pretty good videos how to do that. So now we put in 8.5 quarts. We'll see where it's at on the dipstick. Just touching the bottom of the dipstick, so I'm going to put in about another quart yet, the way it looks. And with the small leak that I do have, I'd rather have a little bit too much in it than not enough. So run that down a little ways. Alright, well, there we go. First part of the first YouTube video. Like I said, we are going to Southern California and to Las Vegas in a couple days. I do plan on getting some driving footage of that, and we're gonna go check out some stuff, bring you along. Sorry, this video probably sucked. I'm nervous and not a very good talker, but that's how you get better at things. You do them and get better. So hopefully it wasn't too terrible, too painful to watch, and we'll see you when we hit the road in a couple days.
Thanks for watching the video.
Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe.
Make sure you follow, like, and subscribe to my dad's channel.